Your cucumbers aren't failing because you're a bad gardener. They're failing because you're following advice written for people who don't actually grow food. White powdery patches, curling leaves, fruit that stops sizing up right when you need it most. Most videos tell you to rip off the leaves and pray. That's not a fix, that's giving up with extra steps. I found something different. A 3-ingredient spray that stopped the spread on a plant I was ready to write off and let healthy new growth come in clean behind it. In the next few minutes, you'll see the exact before and after, the one mistake that makes most home sprays underperform, and a few things about how this fungus actually spreads that most videos leave out entirely. Stay with me because the part most people skip is the part that actually matters. Here's what you're expecting to see: a leaf that's mostly green with a few white spots. That's not what I'm showing you. Visual, leaf that is nearly 70% white and coated. This leaf looked like it had been dusted with baby powder. I genuinely thought it was too far gone to bother spraying. 10 days later, here's the same vine. The old leaf didn't turn back to solid green. That damage stays, but every single new leaf that came in after treatment came in clean. That distinction is the part almost every gardening video glosses over, and it's the reason so many people think this spray doesn't work, when really they just misunderstood what it's supposed to do. Now here's the method most competing videos push, and why it quietly sets you up to fail. They tell you to spray milk or spray water, or wipe the leaves down with a damp cloth. Wiping mildew doesn't remove it, it smears fungal spores across the leaf surface, onto your gloves, and onto the next leaf you touch. You're not cleaning the plant, you're relocating the problem. Milk sprays have actually shown some real results in studies, so I'm not going to tell you they do nothing. But they're inconsistent, they need frequent reapplication, and they don't address the two things that actually decide whether an infection spreads or stalls out, which is what we're about to get into. The method I'm about to walk you through works on a mechanism most competing videos never explain, and once you see why, you'll understand exactly what to look for instead of guessing. Here's what almost nobody explains clearly. Powdery mildew doesn't need water on the leaf to spread, it needs humidity in the air and a dry leaf surface. That combination is basically its favorite environment. That's the gap in most advice. People treat it like a normal fungal infection that needs moisture to grow, so they either avoid watering the leaves entirely or they do the opposite and spray water on, thinking it'll wash the spores away. Both approaches miss the actual biology. This spray works two separate ways, and most competing content only ever mentions one of them. First, it shifts the pH on the leaf surface to somewhere around 8. Fungal spores are built to germinate in a specific pH range, and outside that range they simply can't take hold. Visual, simple pH scale animation over a leaf. Second, and this is the part that gets left out constantly, certain components in the mix physically dehydrate fungal cells they touch. That's a contact kill, not a slow poison. That's why you see visible thinning in days instead of weeks. Here's the catch nobody mentions though: this only works on spores it actually touches. It is not systemic, it doesn't travel through the plant's tissue to protect leaves you missed. That single detail is the difference between people who get real results and people who spray once, miss the undersides of half their leaves, and give up thinking the whole method is a myth. Commercial fungicides work differently. They get absorbed into the plant and protect tissue that grows after application. This spray protects only the surface you physically coat, which means your technique matters more than the recipe itself. Why it keeps coming back, the part spraying alone can't fix. Here's something that trips up almost everyone who tries a leaf spray like this and still loses the fight by August. You can execute the spray perfectly, hit every leaf, every underside, every time, and the mildew still shows back up on the same vine a couple weeks later. That's not the spray failing. Powdery mildew mainly spreads through airborne spores, which means the conditions around the plant matter almost as much as anything you put in a bottle. Dense, crowded foliage traps humidity right against the leaf surface, and that still damp air is exactly what these spores want. So the first fix costs nothing: thin out overcrowded growth and give the vine some breathing room. Prune the oldest, most shaded leaves once the plant is established, and space vertical or trellis plants a little further apart than feels necessary. Better airflow alone measurably slows how fast an infection spreads. Second, watch your watering time. Watering late in the day, especially overhead, keeps leaf surfaces damp into the cooler evening hours when humidity is already climbing. Water earlier in the day instead and aim at the soil rather than the leaves when you can, so foliage has time to dry out before evening. Third, once a leaf is heavily infected, pull it. Leaving badly coated leaves on the plant or letting infected debris sit on the ground nearby gives the fungus a place to keep producing spores right next to healthy growth. Clearing that debris, especially at the end of the season, cuts down how much inoculum is sitting around waiting for next year's humid stretch. And if this is a fight you have every single summer on the same spot in the garden, look at your variety next time you plant. A lot of standard cucumber varieties have little natural resistance to powdery mildew, while other varieties bred specifically for resistance are often sitting right next to them on the seed rack. That single choice made months before symptoms ever show up can matter more than anything you spray once the season's underway. None of this replaces the spray. It just means the spray isn't fighting alone. Airflow, watering habits, debris cleanup, and variety choice all change how much pressure the spray actually has to deal with. Quick question before we get into the exact recipe: is your cucumber patch pretty crowded and shaded, or does it already get decent airflow between plants? Drop it in the comments, because it tells you whether airflow is working against you before you even pick up a spray bottle, and I want to know what you're actually working with. Step-by-step method. Here's exactly what goes in the bottle and, more importantly, why the ratio matters more than people realize. 1 tablespoon of baking soda. This is your pH shift. Less than this and the shift is too weak to matter. More than this, and you start creating a different problem I'll get to in a minute. 1 tablespoon of horticultural oil, not vegetable oil. This is where a lot of homemade recipes online quietly fail people. Vegetable oil formulations vary bottle to bottle, and using the wrong one increases your risk of leaf scorch. Horticultural oil is refined specifically to sit on plant tissue without damaging it. It costs a few dollars more, and it is worth every cent of that difference. A few drops of unscented dish soap. This is your emulsifier. Without it, the oil and water separate in the bottle within minutes, and you end up spraying straight water half the time without realizing it. Combine all 3 into 1 gallon of water. Stir it, don't shake it. Shaking creates foam that clogs your sprayer and wastes half your mixture before it even hits a leaf. Here's a step almost every video skips entirely. Test it first. Spray 1 leaf, wait 24 hours, then check for any scorch or discoloration before you treat the whole plant. Every garden's light exposure and plant stress level is different, and skipping this step is how people burn leaves they were trying to save. Apply before 9 in the morning. Cooler temperatures means slower drying, and slower drying gives the pH shift and the contact kill time to actually work before the sun burns off the mixture. Now here's the detail that separates people who get results from people who don't. Spray both sides of every leaf, not just the ones with visible mildew. The spores are frequently already sitting on leaves that look completely healthy, just waiting for the right conditions. And remember the airflow piece from a minute ago. Spraying every leaf perfectly still won't hold if the vine is so crowded that humidity just sits trapped against the foliage all day. The spray and the pruning are doing 2 different jobs, and you need both. Let it dry completely before you water the plant or before rain is expected. Wash it off early and you've undone the entire application. Common MISTAKES. Here's mistake number 1, and it's the biggest one by far. Spraying in the afternoon sun. Oil plus direct heat is a scorch recipe, and the damage it causes looks almost identical to disease damage, which means people blame the spray for something the sun actually did. Mistake number 2, assuming more baking soda equals faster results. It doesn't. Push past the right ratio and you start building up sodium in your soil over repeated applications, which stresses the plant's ability to take up nutrients. You're solving one problem and quietly creating another. Mistake number 3, and this is the one that convinces people the whole method is fake. Only spraying leaves that already show white spots. Spores don't wait for symptoms to show up before they spread. Skip the clean-looking leaves and the infection just reestablishes itself from the leaves you never touched. Mistake number 4, expecting the white coating to vanish the moment you spray. It won't. What you're stopping is the spread. The dead spore residue already sitting on the leaf takes multiple applications to fully clear, and expecting instant results is the fastest way to abandon something that was actually working. Mistake number 5, and this is the one most videos never mention: spraying a crowded, unpruned vine and calling it done. You can hit every leaf perfectly and still lose ground if the plant is packed so tight that humidity never has anywhere to go. The spray fights the infection that's active. Airflow decides how hard that fight has to be in the first place. Here's the uncomfortable truth behind all 5 of these mistakes. None of them are about the recipe. They're all about technique. The ingredients matter less than how, where, and when you apply them, and that's exactly the part most gardening content leaves out. Timing and application. Once mildew is visible, spray every 5 to 7 days. Not daily. Daily application increases your scorch risk without meaningfully speeding up results. If you're spraying before mildew ever shows up as prevention in a humid climate, stretch that out to once every 10 to 14 days during your peak humidity months. Here's a situation where you should not use this spray at all, and almost no competing video mentions it. If your cucumbers are actively flowering and pollinators are working the blossoms, horticultural oil can affect bees on direct contact. Spray early enough that the leaves are dry before bees are active, or skip that round of spraying entirely and wait for the next window. Don't apply within 24 hours of expected rain. Rain washes off the protective film before the pH shift or the contact kill has time to do anything. And here's the threshold most people don't know exists. If mildew already covers more than half the plant's leaf surface, spraying alone is no longer enough. At that point, remove the worst affected leaves so the plant redirects its energy into new growth instead of trying to defend tissue that's already compromised. Knowing when to stop spraying and start pruning is the difference between saving a plant and wasting 2 more weeks on a method that's already past its window. RESULTS and EXPCTATONS. Let's be completely honest about what this does and does not do, because overpromising here just sets you up to feel like it failed. This controls and slows powdery mildew. It is not a cure for severe infections, and it will not restore leaf tissue that's already dead. Nothing you spray at home does that. On my plants, the first visible change showed up around day 4. By day 10, every new leaf coming in was staying clean. That timeline will shift depending on your humidity, your temperature, and how advanced the infection was when you started. Cost-wise, a full gallon runs under $2 using ingredients most people already have in their kitchen. Compare that to commercial fungicides running $15 to $25 a bottle, and this becomes an easy first line of defense before you spend real money. The trade-off is consistency. This is a contact treatment, not a systemic one, which means it needs more frequent reapplication than a store-bought product, and it works best alongside the airflow and cleanup habits we covered earlier, not as a replacement for them. For most backyard growers dealing with mild to moderate mildew, that trade-off is worth making. For severe, plant-wide infections, this buys you time and slows the damage, but it will not undo what's already been lost. Here's the short version. Powdery mildew spreads through humid air and dry leaf surfaces, not standing water. This spray works by shifting leaf pH and dehydrating fungal cells on contact, but only on the surfaces it actually touches. And a crowded, poorly ventilated vine will keep undoing your work no matter how well you spray it. Technique and conditions decide whether this works far more than the recipe alone does. Save this video before you need it. Because once those white patches show up, you're going to want this exact ratio and this exact timing, not a version you're trying to remember from memory a week later. Has powdery mildew wrecked a harvest for you before? Tell me what you tried and whether it actually worked. If this saved you a trip to the garden store, subscribe, because the next video breaks down the one mistake that's probably costing you fruit size on every single cucumber vine you've got right now.